A man accused of shooting two Minnesota lawmakers and their spouses is now in custody. We'll look at the suspect's ties to an Arkansas food plant. And the Arkansas baseball team getting ready to take the field in the College World Series this afternoon. We're live in Omaha to get you ready for the elimination game.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at Noon.
Well, thank you for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. The Arkansas baseball team is in Omaha as they face Murray State in an elimination game this afternoon. 5 News Sports Director Alex Stewart and Robin Hearn. They're live there in Omaha with more. Hey, Alex and Robin.
Hey Morgan, well, what was excitement and optimism just 2 days ago has turned into anxiety and nervous energy for Arkansas fans as the OmaHogs prepare to face the underdogs with the season on the line. Welcome into Omaha, Nebraska in the Men's College World Series. I'm Alex Stewart. This is Robin Hearn. Robin, what can you tell us here about this matchup between Arkansas and Murray State? The Hogs, of course, choosing the hard way of doing things as always. What can you tell the fans as they try and stave off elimination and keep their season alive?
Well, Murray State is the Cinderella team coming into this year's Men's College World Series, but there's a reason why they're here. They beat Duke and they beat Ole Miss to end up here. Now, the Hogs have actually faced the Racers before, actually 8 times in program history, 6 times in the Dave Van Horn era, and Dave, he's 6-0 against the Racers. The last time,
record to have.
Yes, the last time they faced each other was in 2024. However, where Arkansas got a sweep over Murray State. And I looked back at the box scores. Gage Wood and Will McIntyre both faced off against the Racers, and I think that's why we're also seeing Gage Wood getting the start today. He's looking to bounce back after his not so great start versus Tennessee, going 3 innings and 1/3 with 1 run on 3 hits and 2 walks. But hopefully, Gage can bounce back and give some innings to the Hogs today.
When I'm looking at the other side of the plate, as it were, I think the Hogs offense needs to get going today. They had a rough outing against LSU, but that's to be expected with Cade Anderson on the mound. He's the top pitcher in the nation when it comes to strikeouts, 170 after his game against Arkansas. You just got to get those bats confident. It's kind of like in football when you have a receiver that needs to get his confidence back after a bad game. Just give him a little bubble screen, get him going, get him happy, get him in the rhythm of the game. Try and play some small ball if you're Arkansas today. Now, the overall situation for the Hogs here is this. Yes, they are facing what a lot of people are saying is maybe the 8th best team in the field here today, so they're thinking easy win. But you got to remember, they're the 8th best team in the country, Murray State is. So this is not a give me win. And it lays out like this. Even if Arkansas wins, they cannot lose the next 3 games. If they win here, they'll face the loser of UCLA and LSU. If they get through that game, they will then have to face the winner of UCLA and LSU, and they'll have to beat them twice. So Arkansas picking the hard way up the mountain, Robin. We will, of course, have you covered all throughout the day. We'll have the highlights, we'll have the post, we'll get it all as Arkansas tries to keep their season alive. From Omaha, for Robin Hearn, I'm Alex Stewart, 5 News Sports.
Thank you, guys. All right, in other news, Fort Smith police have arrested 2 people allegedly involved in an overnight shooting that has left a woman critically injured. According to a release put out by police, 36-year-old Anthony Don Nichols and 27-year-old Austin Lee Williams, both parolees, have been identified as the suspects. William faces 1 count of battery in the 1st degree. Nichols was arrested on drug-related charges unrelated to the shooting, but charges are pending. We'll continue to update you as we learn more. And new at noon, we are learning a 17-year-old died in a Franklin County crash on June 9th. Arkansas State Police say an all-terrain vehicle labeled as a 2015 Arctic Cat in the crash report was going southbound on State Highway 23 North just after 7 p.m. that night. ASP says the vehicle with 3 people inside lost control and overturned, ejecting 1 passenger. Crash resulted in the death of a 17-year-old and injuries to a 16-year-old and another 17-year-old.
Well, for the most part for this afternoon, we're seeing just a couple of isolated showers on our far eastern edge, especially east of I-49. That's where we're going to see any activity later this afternoon. You can see very isolated in nature. Not everyone is seeing it, and really not posing any threat. It's very light to moderate, not seeing any lightning. You can see it's kind of dissipating as well. So these off and on, we'll call them kind of popcorn kernel showers, will continue throughout the rest of this afternoon until about sunset and then taper off afterwards. You can see, again, it's just kind of scattered about in nature. Nothing really too much to be kind of concerned about, but just something to keep an eye on and just just be aware that, yeah, you might get rained on a little bit, especially if you live east of I-49. So over the next 12 hours here, we'll have those rain chances through the afternoon and then again taper off by about sunset. For the northwest Arkansas and for the River Valley, same kind of deal. Maybe a little bit warmer here. We'll get temperatures into the upper 80s and then down into the 70s by midnight. So today's chance, really nothing to be concerned about. Tomorrow, it's kind of the same thing, isolated, nothing to be concerned about. Wednesday, though, we do have a level 2 out of 5 risk for the entire area for severe weather, which could include damaging wind gusts and at times maybe a brief tornado. So we'll talk about that as well as a big heat wave coming up here in your full forecast. Morgan.
Thanks, Danny. Well, the suspect in the shootings of Democratic lawmakers and their spouses in Minnesota has a court appearance this afternoon after being taken into custody last night following an intensive 2-day manhunt. Police say the 2-day manhunt for 57-year-old Lance Belter ended peacefully last night after a tip led them to a field near his home about 45 miles from the Twin Cities. Belter is accused of shooting and killing Democratic State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark on Saturday in what officials are calling a politically motivated attack. He's also charged with attempted murder in the shootings of Democratic State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. Both are now recovering from their injuries.
I want to assure our community and all those who are grieving that we will seek justice and accountability for the victims of all these heinous crimes.
Police say Belter left behind an SUV that was disguised with police lights and markings, and inside they found multiple weapons and a list of more than 50 possible targets, including lawmakers and abortion rights advocates. Over the weekend, we learned the suspected shooter has ties to Arkansas. Local pastor Daniel Tucson says he worked with Belter at Gerber in Fort Smith. He says Belter was a supervisor for a time there. The two worked together for about a year and even formed a friendship.
It was very faith-oriented, very family-oriented. I thought he was great to work with. We got along great. He seemed to lead people well. Never saw him lose his cool.
He says they kept in touch for several years after, which made Belter's name stand out instantly when it appeared in national headlines. Belter's LinkedIn says he worked as a supervisor at Gerber from 1999 to 2004, but doesn't specify a location. We've reached out to Gerber and the parent company Nestle, as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, have not heard back yet. While President Trump is attending the G7 gathering of some of the world's largest economies this week in Canada, but escalating tensions between Israel and Iran and a death toll on both sides are weighing heavily on the summit. Natalie Brand has the latest on the United States response.
President Trump is meeting this morning with Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney, the host country for this year's G7 summit, bringing together 7 of the world's top economies. But looming over the gathering, the conflict between Israel and Iran now in its 4th day.
It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
An Iranian missile attack overnight damaged a synagogue in central Israel and a school building. Residential buildings were also hit. The U.S. consulate suffered minor damage and remains closed as a precaution. In Iran, thousands are fleeing Tehran. The health ministry reports more than 200 killed in Israeli military strikes so far. Before leaving for Canada, President Trump expressed hope for de-escalation.
Sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran were canceled over the weekend. CBS News has learned the State Department is instructing embassies nationwide to emphasize the message that the U.S. was not involved in the Israeli strikes on Iran. President Trump on social media also warned if the U.S. is attacked in any way by Iran, the full strength of the U.S. armed forces will come down at levels never seen before. CBS News has also confirmed reports that President Trump opposed an Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader, conveying to Prime Minister Netanyahu it wasn't a good idea. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.